As a celebrated Australian water polo player, Tegan Lane's life was tragically cut short, leaving behind a narrative riddled with unanswered questions. Born in 1975 into a sporting family, Kelly's path seemed destined for success. Her father, Robert Lane, transitioned from a rugby career to law enforcement, while her mother, Sandra, balanced a medical career with coaching water polo. Along with her brother, Morgan, Kelly enjoyed a comfortable upbringing in a respectable Sydney suburb, embodying the image of a golden child. Educated at Manly High School and later McKellar High School, Kelly pursued higher education at the University of Newcastle, earning an arts degree before attending the Australian College of Physical Education. Her passion for sport blossomed into a coaching role at a girls' secondary school, where she worked as a PE teacher. Like any young woman, Kelly enjoyed a vibrant social life, balancing her athletic aspirations with a fondness for parties and social gatherings. Driven by her mother's influence and her own innate talent, Kelly excelled in water polo, gaining recognition in Manly. Her parents, both accomplished individuals, beamed with pride at their daughter's achievements. The Lane family was actively involved in community life, particularly within the sporting arena. With her mother acting as both coach and manager, Kelly's athletic future appeared bright. Sandra initially oversaw her daughter's training before entrusting her to a more seasoned coach. Kelly's dedication was unwavering, devoting countless hours to honing her skills, often with grueling schedules stretching from 4:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Inspired by her parents' example and unwavering support, Kelly thrived under their guidance. Despite the demanding regimen she followed since childhood, Kelly maintained a calm and composed demeanor. While sport remained her primary focus, she still found time for social engagements and enjoyed the company of friends. Kelly's natural beauty and athletic physique drew admirers even during her high school years. However, her demanding training schedule left little room for serious relationships. In 1992, during her final year of high school, she began dating fellow athlete Aaron Tyak. Their shared passion for sports ignited a deep connection, fostering a long-term relationship. Despite using birth control, Kelly discovered she was pregnant at 17. While such medications boast a 99% effectiveness rate, Kelly fell within the unfortunate 1% for whom they proved ineffective. Unprepared for motherhood and determined to pursue her athletic dreams, Kelly, with Aaron's support, opted for an abortion. This decision, shrouded in secrecy, remained hidden from her parents. By early 1994, Kelly and Aaron's relationship had deteriorated, marked by frequent arguments, ultimately leading to their separation. Kelly subsequently became involved with a married man, and despite continued contraceptive use, found herself pregnant again at around 19. Unwilling to carry the child to term, she once more chose to terminate the pregnancy. This second abortion proved particularly traumatic due to the later stage of the pregnancy. Once again, Kelly kept her decision private, not even confiding in her new partner, recognizing that he, too, was unprepared for parenthood. Seeking further anonymity, Kelly initially approached a different clinic. However, she was refused due to the advanced stage of her pregnancy. Despite her pleas, the clinic remained steadfast in their refusal. Left with little choice, Kelly returned to the clinic where she'd had her first abortion. To secure the procedure, she felt compelled to misrepresent the circumstances surrounding her pregnancy. The clinic acquiesced, performing the abortion at 20 weeks. This secrecy, while isolating, underscored Kelly's unwavering resolve. Remarkably, throughout her 5 months of intense training, her pregnancy remained undetected by teammates and coaches. This can perhaps be attributed to the demanding nature of water polo and Kelly's unwavering dedication. She never complained, never sought special treatment, her sights firmly set on Olympic glory. Her athletic build, coupled with loose-fitting clothing, effectively concealed her condition. Some women's physiques also contribute to a less noticeable pregnancy, further masking Kelly's situation. While this second abortion undoubtedly left an emotional scar, Kelly seemingly found a sense of resolution, continuing her life, her sporting pursuits, and pursuing new relationships. In 1994, Kelly began dating Duncan, a relationship that lasted until 1998. Duncan was captivated by Kelly's vibrant personality and athleticism, expressing a desire to marry her. They shared a love for both sports and lively social gatherings. In 1995, Kelly became pregnant for a third time. Once again, the pregnancy was unplanned. Haunted by her previous traumatic abortion, she avoided seeking medical intervention, hoping the situation would resolve itself. Kelly maintained her rigorous training regimen and active lifestyle, seemingly unaffected. The demanding physicality of water polo, with its intense exertion and strain, went unnoticed by those around her, even as she carried a child. Her pregnancy remained a closely guarded secret, undisclosed even to Duncan. Neither her mother, ever present as team manager, nor her fellow athletes suspected a thing. Kelly's ability to conceal her condition until the late stages of pregnancy is truly astonishing. Teammates only noticed minor peculiarities, such as Kelly arriving at the pool wrapped in a towel, discarding it just before entering the water. She consciously minimized displaying her figure in a swimsuit and favored loose-fitting attire. Even Duncan remained oblivious, though he later recalled Kelly's resistance to him touching her stomach and the decreased physical intimacy during the final months. Throughout the 7th month of her pregnancy, an unforeseen incident unfolded. During a training session, a fellow athlete swimming underwater near Kelly noticed her protruding abdomen. Suspicions about Kelly's pregnancy arose, and these were promptly relayed to their coach. The coach subsequently contacted Kelly and addressed the matter, yet she vehemently denied the allegation. Satisfied with her denial, and considering her relatively small belly, the coach dismissed the concern, not anticipating such a determined effort to conceal a pregnancy. Kelly maintained her deception, driven by the fear of jeopardizing her athletic pursuits. Just 2 days before her 20th birthday, Kelly Lane participated in a regional synchronized swimming competition where she experienced a sudden onset of illness. Following the event, she was rushed to a hospital and delivered a baby girl. Kelly endured intense labor pains, apparently commencing during the competition itself. Immediately after the birth, she relinquished the infant, who was subsequently placed for adoption. Kelly even falsely named another man as the father on the birth certificate. Despite giving up the child, she was required to remain in the hospital until the baby's discharge, providing breastfeeding care. Remarkably, Kelly withheld news of the birth from her family. She fabricated a story about spending time with friends, a deception her parents readily accepted. With no cause for concern from her family, Kelly successfully executed her plan. While recovering from childbirth in the clinic, she even managed to slip away on her birthday for a celebratory drink with friends. This irresponsible act of consuming alcohol while breastfeeding contributed to her swift discharge and the baby's placement with a foster family. By early 1996, Kelly secured a teaching position at a private school while continuing her aquatic career, representing Team Australia at the World Championships in Canada. She delivered an outstanding performance, earning a silver medal. It appeared that her previous experiences with motherhood had neither instilled wisdom nor caution. Her sexual activity continued without any adjustments to her evidently ineffective contraceptive methods. Inevitably, this led to another pregnancy at the age of 21. However, this time, Kelly hesitated to terminate the pregnancy. She was romantically involved with Duncan, who was deeply enamored with her, and marriage was a possibility. They projected the image of an ideal couple. Despite the serious nature of their relationship and Duncan's willingness to marry, Kelly concealed her pregnancy from everyone, including him. As before, her pregnancy remained remarkably inconspicuous, with minimal change to her physique or lifestyle. She continued to socialize, consume alcohol, engage in intimate relations, and maintain her rigorous training regimen. This involved demanding physical activity, characteristic of her athletic pursuits. However, residing in a small, close-knit community meant increased scrutiny. Throughout these pregnancies, Kelly attracted the attention of envious individuals who suspected her condition and fueled rumors. These suspicions were partly due to subtle shifts in Kelly's behavior, such as her use of a towel or wearing loose clothing. While her inner circle remained oblivious, outsiders noticed these peculiarities. To any inquiries, Kelly consistently denied being pregnant, asserting her well-being. Lacking concrete proof, no one challenged her assertions. By April 1996, Kelly's relationship with Duncan began to unravel. He relocated to a different neighborhood, creating distance between them. Shortly after, Kelly discovered his infidelity with a teammate. While not entirely surprised, she grappled with feelings of possessiveness. Ultimately, Kelly chose to forgive the transgression and preserve the relationship. On September 12, 1996, Kelly secretly delivered her second daughter, Tegan. After informing her family of a weekend trip with friends, she proceeded to the hospital where she herself was born, choosing this location to minimize the risk of encountering acquaintances. For the first time during her pregnancies, she provided her accurate name and birth date. It appeared she might consider keeping Tegan. However, Kelly subsequently changed her address and phone number, exploiting the ease with which personal information could be altered at the time. Australians could access free, anonymous medical care if needed. Such deception would be immediately exposed today. Unlike her previous children, Tegan experienced a degree of maternal warmth. A bond seemed to develop between mother and daughter. Kelly dedicated time to breastfeeding, bathing, and sleeping alongside her newborn. She even consulted with doctors regarding future motherhood, demonstrating a stark contrast to her earlier behavior. She didn't resist checkups or attempt to flee. Just 2 days postpartum, Kelly and Tegan were discharged. However, in her haste, a crucial mandatory newborn screening test involving a heel blood sample was overlooked. Furthermore, a DNA test to confirm maternity and paternity was not conducted. The expedited discharge was attributed to a shortage of hospital beds. Given their apparent good health, Kelly and Tegan were released to accommodate other patients. They departed the hospital between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., and Tegan was never seen again. Kelly returned to her parents' home around 3 p.m. without Tegan. Completely unaware of the birth, her family had no reason for suspicion. That same evening, she rejoined Duncan for a celebratory outing, attending a family wedding where she maintained a casual demeanor, as if nothing extraordinary had occurred. Her behavior remained unquestioned. For the next 3 years, Tegan's existence remained a secret. She vanished on the day of her discharge, somewhere between the hospital and Kelly's parental home. No search ensued, as only Kelly and the hospital staff knew of Tegan's birth. The hospital, however, did not monitor the infant's welfare, and the information remained concealed. By the end of 1998, Kelly's carelessness resulted in another pregnancy. By the time she realized her condition, her relationship with Duncan had ended. Once again, she chose to conceal the pregnancy and planned a clandestine termination. In the beginning of February 1999, she visited a newly established abortion clinic located in Finland. However, the procedure was denied because Kelly had waited too long, arriving at the clinic at 25 weeks of gestation. Subsequent attempts at other clinics also proved unsuccessful, leaving her with no choice but to carry the pregnancy to term. She delivered the baby in secret at a hospital and immediately relinquished the infant for adoption. This confidential process, however, had become more complicated due to recent legal changes. During this process, a social worker engaged in an extended discussion with her regarding the lack of proper documentation. Kelly fabricated a story, claiming this was her first childbirth. She provided her correct name, but furnished inaccurate contact information and address. Furthermore, she asserted that she was unaware of the child's father's identity. Her provision of false information significantly hampered the social worker's efforts. As the organization's staff pieced together the details of her case, they uncovered the deception and realized this was not Kelly's first child. Consequently, they attempted to locate her to clarify the situation and obtain the necessary information to legally finalize the adoption. The infant's legal status became precarious. Unbeknownst to Kelly, adoption procedures in the country had undergone significant revisions in recent years. As a result, social workers processing the adoption paperwork conducted a thorough background investigation into Kelly's history. The deeper they delved into her story, the more discrepancies and falsehoods they uncovered. It came to light that she had provided fictitious addresses to various medical institutions, some even located in other countries, including the UK. The inconsistencies in Kelly's narrative surrounding her pregnancies and deliveries raised significant red flags for the social workers. Through their meticulous investigation, social workers discovered that Kelly had likely given birth to a daughter named Tegan several years earlier. Records indicated that Tegan was born at Burns Hospital, but there was no trace of the child after her discharge. Kelly had never taken Tegan to a pediatrician for checkups, vaccinations, or any other medical attention. This, coupled with Kelly's denial of any previous births, fueled serious concerns, prompting social workers to contact her directly. Kelly vehemently denied having any children, claiming the social workers were mistaken. Unconvinced, the social workers, suspecting foul play, escalated the matter to law enforcement, who initiated an investigation. Meanwhile, Kelly continued her life as usual, seemingly oblivious to the impending revelation of her secrets. In 2000, at the age of 25, Kelly became pregnant again. This time, however, she chose to keep the child, sharing the news with her family and boyfriend. This decision perhaps stemmed from her aging out of her sports career and her transition into coaching, where presenting an image of a stable family woman could be advantageous. Unbeknownst to her, the investigation into Tegan's disappearance was gaining momentum. Detectives soon contacted her regarding her previous pregnancies, summoning her for questioning. Faced with the accumulated evidence, Kelly confessed to all 5 pregnancies, including the abortions and the abandoned child. She revealed that Tegan was born during a clandestine relationship with an older, established man who desired to be a father. According to Kelly, this man, whom she identified as Andrew Morris, took Tegan into his care after their discharge from the hospital. Kelly claimed she met Morris, who worked in finance, at a bar on Wisbeach Street. Their brief affair ended, but Kelly later discovered she was pregnant and informed Morris. He purportedly welcomed the news and awaited the child's birth. Kelly explained that he took Tegan, but she couldn't provide further details about him, including his current whereabouts or a detailed description of his appearance. Despite the limited information, a composite sketch of Morris was created and circulated. Detectives began their search for Andrew Morris, hoping to locate him and ascertain Tegan's whereabouts. However, their efforts proved challenging. No men matching Kelly's description with the name Andrew Morris could be found. Moreover, no one by that name resided on Beach Street, casting further doubt on Kelly's account. Eventually, investigators located a man named Andrew Morris with whom Kelly had been intimately involved. But this relationship predated Tegan's birth by several years. This Andrew Morris confirmed he hadn't seen Kelly recently and she had not given him a child. He had moved away long ago and had never lived at the address Kelly provided. It appeared Kelly might have fabricated the name. The investigation stalled for 2 months due to the difficulties in locating the alleged father. A new detective subsequently took over the case and recalled Kelly for further questioning. She reiterated her previous story, but with some notable discrepancies. The new detective picked up on a change in the alleged father's surname. Andrew Morris had become Andrew Norris. Kelly, with a seemingly unconcerned smile, attributed this to a possible mistake in the previous interview, claiming she couldn't recall the last name accurately. This raised further suspicion. The detective directly asked Kelly if she had harmed her daughter. Visibly flustered, Kelly denied the accusation and requested the audio recording of the interrogation be stopped. Her primary concern seemed to be the potential social stigma and damage to her career if the details of her pregnancies became public. Lacking sufficient evidence to charge her, the authorities released Kelly, and the investigation continued. The focus shifted to locating Andrew Norris, but again, no matching individuals could be found. No records of a child resembling Tegan were found in any schools or kindergartens in Munley and surrounding areas. The search extended to over 86,000 children's birth records, but Tegan remained elusive. Investigators worked tirelessly to uncover the fate of the adopted child, but their efforts yielded no results at that point. Kelly's fabrications grew increasingly transparent, yet she persisted in deceiving the authorities. She maintained that she had last seen her one-year-old daughter in the middle of 1997. However, this claim lacked any corroboration from other sources. Undeterred, the detectives pressed on with their investigation, turning their attention to Duncan, a former boyfriend of Kelly's. It was during their relationship that Kelly had a clandestine affair, resulting in the birth of her daughter, Tegan. Duncan professed complete ignorance of Kelly's pregnancy, asserting that she had never disclosed it to him. However, upon further reflection, he recalled that Kelly had consistently prevented him from touching her stomach, a detail he had dismissed at the time. He also clarified that their relationship had not involved cohabitation. They were simply dating. He readily consented to provide a DNA sample. Subsequent testing revealed that he was not the biological father of either Kelly's first or third child, both of whom had been placed in foster care. Unfortunately, the investigators lacked a DNA sample from the missing girl, Tegan, making it impossible to determine Duncan's paternity in her case. Establishing Tegan's existence and connecting all the pieces of the puzzle proved to be a formidable challenge. Record-keeping practices concerning mothers and newborns were incomplete and unreliable at the time, with no standardized system for data collection. This significantly hampered the investigation. While the police grappled with this intricate mystery, striving to locate the missing child, Kelly continued with her life, seemingly unconcerned about Tegan's whereabouts. Rumors circulated throughout the city alleging that Kelly had undergone multiple abortions and had abandoned other children after giving birth. These allegations tarnished her reputation as a coach and jeopardized her career. In an apparent attempt to rehabilitate her image, Kelly subsequently gave birth to another daughter, whom she chose to raise, openly acknowledging her to family and friends. In 2004, she married the father of this fourth child, further solidifying her attempt at restoring her public persona. Detectives remained unable to unearth any information about the baby's father, Andrew Nerisi, or the missing child, Tegan. Kelly's narrative continued to shift, lacking any semblance of credibility. With the investigation at an impasse, authorities presented the renowned athlete with a proposition: plead guilty to the child's murder and disclose the location of the body. This deal carried no implication of actual charges, allowing Kelly to circumvent any legal repercussions and avoid imprisonment. Despite this offer, Kelly remained steadfast in her denial, insisting that she had not harmed her daughter. She maintained that Tegan was alive and that the child's and father's names might have been altered or that they had left the country, explaining the detectives' inability to trace them. Law enforcement, however, found this scenario implausible. They questioned the logic of such a convoluted scheme. Why would the father orchestrate a name change for himself and his daughter if he had simply taken her from a negligent mother? He could have easily rectified the documentation through official channels. He would have enrolled his daughter in school, taken her to the doctor, and engaged in normal parental activities. His prolonged concealment made no sense. The investigation was further complicated by a gag order, preventing law enforcement from involving the media or the public. Following Kelly's rejection of the plea deal, the investigation continued. In February 2006, investigators concluded that Tegan was deceased, and the case was reclassified as a homicide. They also surmised that Andrew Nerisi was a fictitious individual, though concrete evidence remained elusive. Despite the absence of direct evidence or witness testimony implicating Kelly, she was formally charged with Tegan's murder on November 17, 2009. The birth mother pleaded not guilty, and the case proceeded to trial. The prosecution asserted that Tegan, born 13 years prior, was the fourth of Kelly's pregnancies. The first two had been terminated, while the third and fifth children had been formally placed under state care. The prosecution alleged that the murder occurred on September 14, 1996, the day of Tegan's discharge from the hospital. Immediately after mother and child left the hospital, the infant vanished. The time frame for committing the crime and disposing of the body was incredibly narrow. The prosecution argued that Kelly concealed her pregnancy and eliminated the child to safeguard her social standing and public image, fearing the repercussions on her athletic career. She returned home that same day, seemingly unaffected, met her boyfriend, and attended a family wedding celebration. Throughout the trial, the defendant maintained her innocence, supported by her first boyfriend, Patrick, who believed her and with whom she had rekindled a relationship after her divorce. As a man, I'll recount this perplexing story. The decision to terminate a first pregnancy was incredibly difficult for the couple, leaving Kelly emotionally scarred. This, according to the man, made it inconceivable that she could commit murder. Unbeknownst to him, subsequent abortions and relinquished children severely damaged her credibility with the jury. The prosecution's case was based entirely on circumstantial evidence, lacking a body, witnesses, or concrete proof. The prosecutor painted Kelly as a manipulative and dangerous individual, willing to go to any lengths to achieve her desires. Her perceived disregard for her other children fueled the narrative that she was capable of murder. A psychiatrist labeled Kelly narcissistic, adept at portraying herself as a victim. The 4-month trial was complex and bewildering. Despite the flimsy foundation of the prosecution's case, the jury convicted Kelly not of murder, but of perjury on December 13, 2010. The legal battle continued, culminating in Kelly's conviction for the murder of Tegan Lane on April 15, 2011. She received an 18-year sentence, with eligibility for parole after 13 years. All appeals were denied, and this mother of multiple children began her incarceration. Throughout the proceedings, Kelly displayed a startling lack of emotion, seemingly indifferent to her daughter's fate, a factor that likely swayed the jury. While imprisoned, Kelly and Patrick separated, though she continued sending him love letters. Patrick had moved on to a new relationship, and his partner requested that Kelly cease contact. Enraged, Kelly retaliated with angry letters and enlisted fellow inmates to harass Patrick's new girlfriend online and through the mail, even sending carrots. The relentless harassment ultimately led to the couple's breakup. Now 48, Kelly remains incarcerated but is approaching parole eligibility. She maintains her innocence, insisting her daughter is alive. Kelly's parents steadfastly support her, believing the verdict unjust due to the lack of concrete evidence. In an interview, Kelly explained that her upbringing emphasized emotional suppression, leading her to conceal her pregnancies to shield her parents from shame. She attributed her multiple pregnancies to incorrect pill usage and a fear of asking partners to use other contraceptives, a mistake she now deeply regrets. Andrew Morris, or Norris, the alleged father, has never contacted authorities despite the extensive publicity surrounding the case. Nor has anyone else provided information regarding his whereabouts, leading many to question his existence. A shocking development emerged on May 12, 2023, when a taxi driver came forward with a significant claim. He stated he had transported Kelly and her baby from Burns Hospital on the day of their discharge. During the ride, Kelly asked him to stop, exited the vehicle, and left the infant by the roadside. The driver witnessed the event but took no action. Later, plagued by guilt, he returned to the location and encountered a woman who claimed she would take care of the baby. The driver could not provide a description or name of the woman, and investigators have been unable to corroborate this information. No other witnesses have come forward. Tegan Lane's fate remains a mystery to the police and her loved ones. If alive, she will be 27 years old. If you found this compelling, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and join the discussion in the comments. I also recommend these other videos. Thank you and goodbye.